This time on Geeks 4x4, we show you how to put a coil axle into a Ford Excursion. This is the long version. This is, everything just going through and talking to it. I'm going to try and do some shorter ones in the future, but this is a long video. But let's get you right to that. No more introduction. Let's roll. Well, I tricked you. First, we had to get the old axle out of the garage. Figured that was cool footage to put in here. And so we got that axle put out on the side of the garage. Now, we're going to start here into the front of this thing and figuring out where to jack it up. Let's go. We are starting on the front here, and I still have, this is Grace, Camo's over there, I'm doing both. And Grace and Camo Adventures are here helping, and we've got the shock off, we've got the shock mount, because the coil is going to go, the coil mounts, UMF, right there, are going to go right in here. And the track bar is undone, I'm going to drop the drag link right there, and then take off the spring bolts, and this front axle will be out of here, and then we can figure out where to put the rest of the stuff. So anyway, working on the coil swap. Factory Ford bump stops, get you one. Here's the other half of factory bump stop. It's fine.
Come to Washington, they said. It'll be great. You get to help. And what's he doing? See him down there? Just holding the wrench.
Hold the wrench.
What the heck?
I've never taken one of these apart for sure. Yeah, don't go follow these formers for. I don't know anything about Excursion.
Yeah, you didn't hear an extra clip back me either.
Yeah, that might be a torque wrench. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's a Cromwell. It's used as intended. Well, we are rolling along on putting the coil axle, the pile back there, into the bobbed Excursion. We've got everything pretty much out. We've got the bolts cut. I'm going to show you guys something on that. Took the bumper off for the first time, and yeah, that made it a lot easier if you're in for that. Yeah, the rear, I got the gas tank out, and Rugged Fab Works is going to maybe tinker on that today. You guys are seeing some good footage and some new footage, obviously, from some good cameras. Grace and Camo Adventures, they have some good camera equipment, and they are shooting that and sharing some footage with me. So definitely check out theirs. They're going to do some videos, I think, around this. I have, obviously, you're watching the video that I have around this. So anyway, yeah, we're plugging along. So far, just trying to take everything out. The U-bolt nuts, screws are seized in there, or U-joint. So I'm actually going to cut the U-joint straps, and then I'll deal with getting the bolts out later. And I need some new U-joint straps because the axle doesn't have them. So anyway, rust is fun, and things that haven't been ever taken out are fun. But we're going to get through it. We're going to get this thing swapped out. Yeah, so with the bumper off, this is the access that you have to, I already cut the head off, so I don't even know if you can see, yeah, the bolt in there. And we cut them off. You can see this one easier. And yeah, so that's the end of the bolt that you have to cut off to get the front leaf springs out. The cool thing about what we're doing is I'm going to be able to take off all of this stuff. So once the jack stands are not holding it up from the bash bar, we are going to be able to take off, unbolt that, take off the whole mount. Like, all this is going to be clean under here. And I'm going to build something in the bumper. I don't know if that's going to happen before Moab, but yeah, the future will be, you know, bumper and protection in front of all this, and a winch, and, you know, all the good stuff. So anyway, we're just trying to strip this thing down and get ready to go. Alright, so we are now working on getting the PMF coil buckets to fit in here. And this has already been cut. We're holding it up there. I believe it lines up somewhere in here. I'm sure it lines up with some of these holes. I don't know how many of them, but some of them. So we're drawing, and then we're going to cut this out so that it fits up in here, because you got to cut this inner liner out just a little bit. The only sucky part is if you don't have the manifold done, it's going to get harder to do the manifold bolts. And my mechanic's gonna be mad at me. Sorry, Max. All right, so as you can see, we have a leaf sprung axle on the ground. And we started cutting the inner liner over there. And then Greg from Grace and Camo Adventure is an expert with Rust-Oleum cans. He's ready to mask up and throw some gloves on. And his favorite tool, he doesn't like the sprayer. He just uses the top of the can with gloves. I don't know. It is what it is. So anyway, I'm still going to pull the sway bar mounts, the original sway bar mounts off. The original bushing mounts are bolted to the frame as well, where the shackles hung, and so I'm going to pull those out. And then, yeah, we're cleaning this all up, the frame here, with the wire wheel, and then we're going to paint it, and we're going to start bolting new parts on. We like new parts. Alrighty, so here is everything we take off. So we've got the upper shock mounts, we've got the track bar bracket, that's the pile of bolts and, you know, stuff. This that you're looking at, this is sway bar mounts and the bushing mounts for the shackles in the rear, and then the front shock. So that is everything that needs to come off, along with dropping the leaf springs and the drag link and such like that. And yeah, that's what we're pulling off of the leaf sprung stuff. Hey, it's the middle of the video. Have you hit the like button yet? And since I am putting the very nice PMF brackets on, I've kind of got these things laid out. The shocks are actually adjustable in these holes along here, and then these holes, these four, line up pretty well. This one's close. These ones are above the frames. I don't know if the new frames are a little bit wider or what, but I think this down here is probably going to be plenty. We might add a hole up in here on this backside or something. I don't really know exactly, but those are the spring plates. Those can actually be spaced out to give you a little bit of lift. So that's something kind of cool. And, you know, or we can just cut them and make them longer. But yeah, so that's the setup here. This is also set up for, you know, if you just wanted to do a pin style top or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not going to do that. I want to be able to move an eyelet style shock up and down and get as much travel out of this front end as I possibly can. All right, so we have got the frame all prepped here, and we have got one of these mounts on. So these 3 bolts right here, and the center one, there's 3 in the bottom. The center bottom one all line up. So I put those ones in, tightened them down, and then I drilled that hole and the underneath hole, and those ones are really close to some holes, but they need to be oblonged out a little bit. So that puts them right into place. This is so nice to do, having to do this instead of having to work with the riv-nutted brackets and stuff from buying the front of a frame or something like that. So PMF makes these really nice setup brackets here. We've got that's the coil bracket sitting over there, and we've got all these brackets. Look, there's a real light. Grace and Camo have like real stuff. Yeah, so if some of this footage looks better, it's because they did it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's the Camo version. He's got the cameras a lot of the time, and we're just drilling holes and putting stuff in. So it's coming together. Well, as you saw, we have got all of the brackets in to mount this axle, and the axle slid underneath. And I'm starting to mess with the track bar. I'm realizing that I need to put that bracket on before I have the axle underneath. Looks like I have to drill most of the holes for that. I'm going to go look at, probably drive over to my neighbor's house and look at his 6-liter and see what this setup looks like on his, just to double check. But it looks like this hole goes into this hole on the PMF bracket, and then you got to drill both holes. One of these I'm hoping lines up with the factory one there, but the other thing about the PMF brackets, so these 4 holes lined up, they're not quite the right size. You just have to make the holes bigger. And then the center one here lined up, these ones, same thing, we had to make the holes bigger, or they were just barely off. And then this one we were hoping to drill, and there's actually a support right behind it. So that hole is a no-go. So these ones are too high for our frame, and this one I just figured that was too close to the other. So the real thing I'd probably do at some point is drill another hole here, but this bracket is super strong, and I think that what's on it is going to be plenty. And so yeah, I just need the track bar bracket, and then this axle is going to go in here. This video's salute goes to PMF suspension, because man, those brackets are absolutely beefy. Thank you guys for making something that bolts on so easily to an old truck, and just makes this process that much easier. So. All right, I am laying under here. Just put in the 3 bolts in the front cross member for the track bar mount. The top two there, let me not be holding the light so I can show you guys. This one and this one, you have to drill. This fits in the factory leaf sprung track bar bracket hole. That's the only one. That's the only one that fits. If you're using the PMF stuff, this thing sits on top of the this is the PMF bracket. It actually goes underneath this thing. And then it didn't look right when I first put it there. It was a big gap. And then as I've tightened everything down, this has sucked itself in. And then I'll be able to throw this together. And I'm gonna put the nut in from the front of the frame for this because it's like almost right underneath the steering box setup and everything like that. So I'm gonna put it on a magnet and try and reach in there with it. It's gonna be a pain. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for that. And then that one's in there. So I'm using more PMF, sent a bunch of bolts with these, and I only used I don't know, 7 on this one and 6 on the other. I think it'll be plenty. I might add one more back here on both of them in the shock mount area, but I have extras for those. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be all in here, and then I'll be ready to bolt the axle in. All right, you are looking at a full ready to bolt on coil swapped Excursion. It's also bobbed and boat sided, but the coils are something that everybody can do. Just so you guys have an idea of the time that this has taken, I tore it apart on Sunday. It is now Wednesday. I haven't worked on it, you know, the whole day each day, but I have worked on it for a couple hours each day. And so this has taken a long time. We prepped the frame and painted that and stuff like that. But you could probably knock it out in a weekend with a buddy or two. But you know, I'm not rushing this. I want to make sure I get it right. And yeah, it's taken a little bit of time. So those are easy. This one, like I showed you before, underneath the track bar bracket was a little bit confusing. I actually called PMF and just double checked that I was close enough. And I do believe that I am. And yeah, other than that, I guess I have to ream possibly the pitman arm. I'm not really sure. I'll let you guys know on that, but I just saw it in somebody else's video that you may have to ream the pitman arm to use the stock box. I will be upgrading to a newer box at some point, but the funds are not there at this exact moment. So yeah, and a red head, you know, all the good stuff. But anyway, I'm going to shove this axle back in here and put those 2 rear bolts in. Start putting things together up here. Well, all right, before I show you, you guys aren't even going to believe me, but this is crazy. So this was sitting at 23.5 with the shackles on it, which made up for 23.5 hub defender, the measurement that we do for our suspensions. Center hub, bottom fender, yes. And I was like, man, I wonder what the coils are going to give. So that was stock springs, 215,000 miles, so worn out with PMF extended shackles. Those gave me like 3/4 of an inch or something like that. So it was really sagged out. It is sitting at 25, which is the same as the white truck. And so that means that the coil swap is the exact same height as V-codes in the front of your leaf sprung truck. So I don't know if this is going to settle a little bit. The spring is old and worn, so it shouldn't really settle, but I'll let you guys know if it changes. The coolest part is that's exactly what I was hoping my ride height was going to be on this truck. So 2 inches of lift in 40s. Yeah, it fits. It's, you know, lots of trimming and stuff like that, but 2 inches of lift in 40s do fit. Well, would you look at that? I got a brake line hooked up. So you will notice that this is in front. The stock ones mount back there behind the axle. So I actually had to turn, you can see up in there, that one around, and the other one I did the same thing too, and then I mounted it right here. I've got this cool tool. If you haven't seen one of these, this is a brake line bender. Make sure you don't kink the line. You can do it slowly. brake line is easy enough to bend. So, yes, I have the brake lines hooked up on both sides. I also cut, there was another mount that shot this line straight up here, and I cut this, and I cut that little clip off the line so that it can be free and go in. I wanted that because when it's sitting at ride height, it's kind of bent down in there. And then this is full droop. And interesting thing about full droop, so the length of the shock at droop is the same as the ones that I have linked for years to the shackle lift / 2-inch lift V code shock. So it's a 23.2 or whatever shock. I don't know if I'm going to order those Bilsteins right now because of money, but I'm going to order something similar with the same shock length. I have it to where this is just barely dropped down. I'm going to ask PMF if they won't build me a coil retainer that's longer. So on the Jeeps, we have a longer retainer so that when you drop this out, you can let the coil ride down it a little bit and you can get more down travel. And that won't happen right now, but that's just something I am noticing for the future here. So anyway, this thing is ready for steering. And yes, I do have to ream the steering out. So you need a ream like this. I think this fits in there. Yep. And then you just turn it in there and make this taper wider. So I have it set up. I'm going to put it on my impact and work it slowly and open that up so that I can put that bigger tie rod end into my factory pitman arm. Again, all this is going to change as far as the steering goes, but for now, that's what we're going to have. So anyway, we're plugging along here. I got to get some new U-joint straps because I had to cut the other ones to put the drive shaft in. And yeah, this is really cool. I'm very excited about it, and I'm gonna keep going here. And if you didn't know, there are specific wrenches for brake lines, and it's so helpful to have these because then you don't round the brake line thing off because it's soft. This is the exact part number. I believe I ordered these from Napa, and this is the one that you need for the Ford Excursion. So I'm going to put a link to this down in the description from Amazon, but that is the only tool. And if I can find a reamer, I don't know where it went. It's not on the ground right in front of me anymore. If I can find a reamer, I'll put that link there too. Alrighty, well, as you can see, it is sitting on its own weight for the first time. And that is awesome. Tons of work to do this coil swap. I hope it's worth it as far as everything goes for this truck. And I honestly hope it doesn't drive that much better, but I'm afraid it will, so I'm going to want to do the white truck. So, I don't know. We'll see. But the hardest part that I'm dealing with right now is because I'm using the factory gearbox, I am stuck with the factory pitman arm at this exact moment. We're just going to use that stuff because that's the cheap way to do it. For what we're doing right now. And the original upper drag link link end is a smaller diameter bolt than the new one. And so you have to ream the hole bigger so that it keeps the taper. And I started reaming it, and my ream is just, it seems like it's not doing anything. It's just beating up my ream. So I ordered a new one, and we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I got a big tall box today from Tom Wood's drive shaft, and that is a nice drive shaft. But anyway, rear drive shaft is in. Front one is in. Front one is very crushed down, and I think it's going to be okay though because it seems like it's just the boot that's really crushed down, and there's still a little bit of play in there. So the front one does work with the coil swap, but it's crushed down. And I might try and push the axle a little bit forward when I do the 3-link and stuff like that when I have adjustability. Alright, well, I didn't want to interject too much in this video, more than I had already interjected. There was a lot of information that I had to tell you guys. There was a lot of things that were really difficult and I thought needed explaining. I think the most difficult thing is still, and it's not done. This video is being put out, edited Friday, and it's going to come to you guys on Sunday, but hopefully it will be done. The pitman arm is still not reamed out. I have a ream coming, should be here today from Summit. I'm going to put a link down below to that or something similar. And then hopefully it just goes quick, because man, I spent hours on it on Thursday. My arms are all sore. Like finding a ream in town didn't exist, and my ream just kind of got eaten up, and I was just not doing anything. So anyway, hardest part is reaming the thing. So if you're putting a new box on it with a new pitman arm and stuff like that, you don't even have to worry about the hardest part. Pro tip, 110% I would suggest using the PMF kit. It's not a kit, but you just go in their website. It's 05 coil buckets and then the 05 frame brackets. And man, that was so easy. Didn't have to drill out any riv nuts. Didn't have to do any of that. The only thing I am missing is, I just found this out, there is a steering stabilizer bracket. The stabilizer actually goes to the frame on these trucks, 05 plus. And so I need that bracket. That bracket can get pulled out for me from the old truck. Anyway, I am getting close. This thing is almost done. You guys will see more in the future. We're going to go back to more general build videos here, but I will give you updates on the coil. I will try and make a simplified video of a how-to, and I just wanted to put everything together so you guys can see and watch. Hopefully it's fun. If you got some value out of this video and you appreciated the work that we put into this truck, trying to make it right, if you could hit that subscribe button and just give the channel that little boost, that would be amazing. And other than that, I'm going to let you go. This has been a long video. I haven't done one this long in a really long time, and I know it, and I'm sorry, but you made it here, so thank you so much. We'll see you next time.